If I ruled the world.
Hello and welcome to episode number 9. We are sitting here with our guest, sitting in our living room. Not our living room. Sam doesn't live in there. This is my living room.
Yeah, yours.
George Resch, Tank Sinatra.
Yeah, we all live here now.
Yeah. You're never going to leave.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could always just hang out here forever, so.
I will take it very personally if you decide not to live here.
Definitely.
No one leaves.
It's him, us, and like his, whatever million followers, so.
Right.
Everyone's welcome.
So, George.
Yeah, man. George.
How does it feel
George,
to be this is our very first guest that's not in a band?
Yeah.
This is our first non-musical guest, non-band member guest.
Oh, I'm very musical, dude.
Right. I don't know how to put it exactly because I know that you're very into music, and as a matter of fact, that's how we met.
Yeah.
But you're not currently in a band,
No.
not promoting a band.
No, I'm not.
And you were in a band at one point, though, didn't you?
I was in a band. Yeah, I was the lead singer, the only singer, the screamer. I was in a band called Lowlife in like 1996 with a guy named Tom, Steve, and Brian. Steve was my drummer. He wound up actually going to form a band with Brian Beal called 10 Times Worse, which was his dream. He was fucking obsessed with Neglect.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
A lot of us were.
Yeah.
John LaFata, dude. He was, as a drummer, that guy's like a drummer's drummer. He was incredible. And in your band, he was, I don't want to say better, but I liked him better in Mind Over Matter than in Neglect. But he was just incredible across the board. He was
we had this conversation recently, and like for a band with the players that Mind Over Matter had, John LaFata still stuck out. He was that fucking good.
He's insane.
Yeah.
He's like incredible. So we had a lot of fun. We practiced in my basement. Mm-hmm. I don't know how my parents tolerated that because it was a mess. I would never let my kids do that.
Never.
Ever. If my son says "Dad" 3 times too many, like I want to kill him. You know what I mean? Like I can't imagine him playing hardcore or heavy metal.
It's not even enjoyable to listen to. And John LaFata's mom loved it. We practiced in her basement.
Same. My mom, who lives down the block still, we would practice there, and like it didn't even faze her. It was so loud. I mean, anytime somebody hit a cymbal, I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. But didn't matter. She was there watching TV, couldn't hear shit.
You know what? My dad may have liked it now that I'm talking about it because he was in bands. He played the guitar. He was always playing something somewhere with somebody. He was in a band with his friend. They'd play in like bars and shit. And he was always very musical, but he played music. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't. I loved playing the drums. My drummer left his set at my house for 2 years while we were in the band.
Right.
And I used to play it. We practiced like twice a week, and I would play the drums every day.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't get enough of it, But I'm not like I can't sing. My wife says I can sing, but I don't think I can sing.
But drums
she's
fucking,
good people.
Like, that's not like an easy, I can't play drums, and I've been playing music for a very long time. And
it's
anytime I sit behind the drums, I look like I just like I've never played a note in my fucking life. Right. But I love it. When I do anything, I just air drum, because it's just fun. Like you're like swinging your arms around.
I'm the best air drummer on the planet.
I will
can
challenge
fool
you on that.
Anyone? We could have a drum off. I mean,
air off.
Off air.
Yeah. We'll save that for the video
I don't
portion.
stomp you out, But that's so from Low Life to Happy is the New Rich and Tank Sinatra. There's plenty in between, but I want to tell you a story.
Okay, go.
I like to tell a story to my guests if I have one about them. Sam knows
yes.
this.
Let him paint this picture for you.
Let me paint a picture. So we've known each other for a long time. Yeah. We figured out about 15 years, and I've seen you do a lot of different things. And we're Facebook friends, and I actually wasn't on Instagram until this podcast. But a couple of years ago, watching Gary Vaynerchuk, Ask Gary V, which this is a guy who often takes in young entrepreneurs, maybe influencers, and gives them some advice on his YouTube channel. He's a very inspirational guy. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, what is George Resch doing in Gary V's office? Because I didn't know. I wasn't on Instagram. And then I saw what you were doing. I'm like, wow, that's fascinating. I didn't know because I knew about your idea of Happy is the New Rich, which eventually turned into a book. But you were doing some stuff to try and get on Oprah.
Yeah.
And even at some point you were doing bodybuilding. At some point you were doing comedy.
This guy's always so supportive.
That's what we've been for 15 years,
Yeah.
Sam. Like, we've written each other back and forth, just like checking in and, writing back and forth for whatever we were doing.
This fucking guy texted me. I had this wild idea that I was going to get my own show on the Oprah Winfrey Network when she was launching her network. I don't audition well at all, especially when it's like live. I did a good video audition. I got some votes. I got some attention. I got a call from a producer, but it ended there. But I did a live audition, and I guess I had posted on Facebook that I was going to it, and he texted or messaged me on Facebook or something. I got it after because I remember I was like, oh, man, that's like great. He goes, I tried to text you. Do you still have the same number? I was like, how the fuck did this guy know that I was in the middle of like a nightmare right now? Like back then at like 10 a.m. or whatever it was. Like he knew that I was auditioning that day somehow. He's like, I have a friend Jay who's like that. Jay always knows. I get a text on my kids' birthdays, on my sobriety date, on my anniversary, on like specific days, and he always knows what's going on. And that's who you remind me of. You're just obviously a very considerate person. You're always.
But I'm bad with
people.
birthdays, and I'm not necessarily good with other people's bands because that's the world we live in. So it's a little bit like, that's kind of the sea that we see. And then when someone's doing something creative and artistic, and it was such a risk, like what you were doing, so vulnerable, that particularly that era of putting up those videos and promoting this idea of happy is the new rich way before the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like anytime that someone does something creative, and like the band thing, obviously this is what we're used to. But like when I see, like a couple of days ago, I saw a girl that I went to high school with is like really big into like science. She get mentioned in the newspaper all the time. Did some like features. She helps out. Like she's always doing something good. And like I just always try to comment or like that picture because I'm thinking like, fucking good for you. Like it just motivates me to just like really like acknowledge it and be like, that's fucking awesome. So I love it.
And so talk about that idea of happy is the new rich and where it started.
So a lot of people, I guess now being where I am now, see me talk about it and they're like, fuck you, bro. It's easy to fucking, when you have like $1 million. They think I'm like a millionaire, first of all, which is not the case. Second of all,
right.
That idea was born out of like me literally having $0 in the bank.
Okay.
Like not like I'm broke and like I only have $7. I had like none.
Right. That's what I get from the title. Just from reading it, that's what I got.
Yeah.
You're a smart person. You're not a hater.
I was like, this millionaire is happy for.
So I was living in California, and I had let my finances get the best of me and get away from me, and I just ignored a problem that wasn't going away. Debt is real. I'd like to say to anybody that thinks debt is like not real or you can escape it somehow.
Oh, it's real.
Especially when it's with the IRS. So mine was with the IRS. And it was with the state, and I owed like not that much money, but it was like a lot for me.
Yeah.
When you have like $50 to your name,
yeah,
which is where I was at, you like 2,000 might as well be like 2 million. Like it's just not possible.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't.
it's not scalable.
I don't.
49's a lot if you have 50.
I don't have it. You know what I mean? So I just never paid the bill. And one day I woke up and I drove across California with across California with about $10,000. And by the time I got there, I had like 4 because I just fucking blew so much money on the trip there. I took like 2 weeks to get there, and I was like, "Yo, what did I do? Like, how did I? You know what I'm saying?" So I was in a bad spot to begin with, but I woke up one day. There was a text message alert on my phone from Chase saying that your balance is less than the amount that we agreed to.
Right.
It's 0. So fucking do something about it. So I called up and I
get off my back.
Yeah.
To the bank.
I said, this is, I'd like to report a fraud. I'd like to report somebody hacked my account. They were like, no, we see a debit here for New York State income tax, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, fuck. And my heart just sank. So that was a tough time for me. But out of that, just like absolute desperation. I was obsessed with getting money because I didn't have any. Right. You know what I mean? So I remember being at the gym and I was on the treadmill and I was like, literally saying to myself over and over again, like, I got to get more money. Like, I have to get more money right now. I'm not going to make it out here if I don't get more money out right now. I'm like, it's over and over and over and over again. And then it was like a fucking light bulb went off over my head, which is why it's called, and other light bulb moment because that was like how I felt. I said, no. Like I said to myself, like I was having a full-blown conversation in my head. I said, no, dude, you're in California. You're healthy. You have friends. Worst case scenario is you fucking just move back to New York. Like try and make it work here. If you can't make it work, you can't make it work. But it's a great place to be homeless if you wind up getting kicked out of your place.
Yeah.
And you can go to the beach. It doesn't cost anything. You can go to your friend's house. It doesn't cost anything. Like figure out a way to enjoy your time here without spending money, because I think a lot of people, and I'm guilty of this now, like if I don't have somewhere to go spend money, I feel like I don't have anywhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I made myself enjoy the time that I had, and it was just like, wow, there is a lot of richness in experiences, way more so than purchasing. I mean, it does take money to create certain experiences like travel or concerts or whatever, but I had to figure out a way to enjoy my life without any money, and I knew that if I took that step and I put that work in and I was able to enjoy my life without money, I knew I would enjoy it with money when I eventually got some, which I knew I would because I just made that decision. I was broke for a long point at that time. It wasn't like that was the first time I was broke. That was just like the most broke I ever was. I lived pretty poorly for like most of my life. So I just got fed up with it, and I remember being at the gym again with this guy Scott, and I was complaining to him about what was going on, even though I had made peace with it kind of, and he's like, some people just aren't meant to have money, dude. And I was like, well, not me.
Right.
I just like knew that wasn't going to be me. And I remember this guy tying his shoes in the locker room looked up. He was like, oh shit. This fucking sounds good, man. This guy's going to be rich. So that was it.
Typical locker room talk.
Exactly.
Where's
and
that
then
guy
I grabbed him
right
by
now?
the pussy.
Yeah.
And then I just started writing down other things that made me feel hopeful about life and situations that I handled poorly that I could have handled better, and relationships and procrastination and work and your attitude towards money, not necessarily getting more money. I don't think it's important to lose weight or get money or do any of those things. I think it's important to change your attitude about them so that you can enjoy whatever you do receive.
Yeah.
You enjoy, because if you don't do that first, whatever you get is never going to be good enough ever in any way, whether it's your relationships, your fitness, your money, your faith. Like, it's just never going to be good enough until you say so. So if you can say it's good enough with a little bit, chances are when you accrue a lot, you'll just be that much better off.
Right.
So you went over there and like you were single, like no job and all that other. You just
single, ready to mingle.
Right. Hey, listen, if you're gonna mingle, California sounds like the right place to do it.
I actually wasn't that ready to mingle. I was just like, I had grown up in Long Island, and I was doing well enough emotionally, and I felt like just very comfortable here, and I felt like there was no way I was going to be able to experience the kind of challenges I wanted to experience in order to like mitzvah myself and grow up and become like an independent man who don't need no man. You know what I'm saying?
I sure do. Go on, girl. So basically you just wanted to challenge yourself and just figured, let me go to California. Did you have any like idea as to like what you wanted to do?
I had a job set up out there. It's so stupid, but it's very specific, and it's the only example I have. I wanted to be forced to change my own windshield wipers. Like, I always had somebody to change my windshield wipers wherever I was.
Okay.
Somebody always knows how to do it. Like, why should I do it? Why should I figure it out? And I wanted to be so far away from anybody I knew that I had to change them. And I wound up learning how to change them. But that's
Baby
one
steps.
thing. Baby steps.
I'm trying to think if I could. I don't know. I might not be able to change
Probably
mine,
not.
to be honest with you.
It's pretty simple, guys.
Very simple. But
I'm sure
but
it is.
daunting when you've never done it before.
Okay.
Everything is simple
Magic.
to someone. You
Right.
know?
That's
Exactly.
true.
So yeah, I just wanted to like, and I was already on kind of a spiritual journey with my sobriety. I knew that like the answer was in
Oh, so you got sober and went there?
No, I got sober at 22. I moved there when I was 29, so I was sober for quite a while at that time.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like a geographic cure, so they call it. It wasn't anything like that. It was just like, well, I'm single now. Let me go see what it's like in California. If it doesn't work out, the mortgage company did work out. It was 2009. It was like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
could not have been a worse time.
Shout out to The
selling
Big Short.
mortgages.
Good
Exactly.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody was funding anything. I was selling loans, but it wasn't working out. The processing was getting jammed up. They couldn't push anything through because of financing, blah, blah, blah. And then I wound up leaving there and going to work at a restaurant, which is what I did, which also gave me some like fallback because I knew that at the very least I could go wait tables and get money that night to eat that night.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I would just work whenever.
Right. At what point did you do comedy? I know you did stand-up comedy. It was a goal of yours. You did it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long or when that was.
I was 23. when
Okay,
I
so
did
that was
that.
before that. That wasn't in California. That was
No,
here.
no, that was in New York, and it was a good time. I just didn't like the repetition of the jokes. If I have a joke in my head, I want to say it now.
Right.
I want to see what happens now. I don't want to think of something and giggle to myself, write it down, and then deliver it to a crowd in a week. That
Hence
fucking
why
sucks.
a meme is perfect.
A
Exactly.
meme or even like Twitter.
Something.
Yeah.
So I love wit. Wit to me is way better than a well-constructed joke.
Yeah.
In the moment when you're like, you just, it's like one of those things where like you can feel the joke coming. You don't know exactly what it's going to be, but you know this person who you're with is about to say something funny, and then they say the right thing, and it's like there's nothing better than that.
Right. And the memes that you do, it's an economy of words. It is the perfect joke. If you are nerds like Sam and I, and we'll just dissect comedy specials, like Three Mics we were talking about, Neil Brennan, Dave Chappelle, and there's just this economy of how they do it and where they put this emphasis, and you're doing with words and a visual.
Yeah.
And it's you have a sort of a writer's mind. Mm-hmm. You look at something and you have to make a joke out of it, and the joke it's right there. There's no setup, punchline, or everything is right there.
Yeah.
It's like sharpshooting, keeps the mind sharp. You just throw that picture up on there, and then from there, you just come up with your words and stuff. So
I love doing it. I mean, I started out with a lot of people who have fallen off now, who just can't continue to make the material that they used to make, if any at all. And
why do you think that happens?
it's fucking hard to keep coming up with shit.
Yeah.
It's not like natural.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like you can sit down with the guitar and like you strum a chord, and then that chord, it might not be the one that you wanted, but it spurs the next one, and then before you know it, you have a song. Like if you just get into action, you'll be inspired. It's not like that. It's either there or it's not.
Right.
It's not like you can like build up momentum. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's hard to keep. I see things in pictures that I know other people don't see.
Okay.
In that, like, I can. Very quick story that makes me sound smart.
Yeah.
When I was young,
By all means.
if you don't mind,
Yeah, sure.
I'd like to prop myself
Then we'll
up
each tell
a little
one
bit.
story about how we.
Yeah.
Then I'll have to tell another one.
I'll be hanging by this pedestal. Go ahead.
So when I was 5, right, which is funny because I was so young, but I took an IQ test, and the counselor was like, "Look at this picture, tell me what you see." It was like an addendum to the IQ test, and he said, "Look at this picture, tell me what you see." And it was an old man and an old woman, and the woman was sitting in the couch, the old man was standing behind her, and he had his hand on her shoulder, and I made up this whole story about their kids leaving and how they felt like they were, weren't, what are we going to do now? And he was like, holy shit. Like, I imagine now having a 5-year-old, my son would look at that, and the guy would be like, "What do you see here?" He'd be like, "Grandma, Grandpa."
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he
Right.
didn't know emotional intelligence. So, like, for some reason, I see things in pictures that other people don't see. Much like, and my favorite artist of all time is Jay-Z, aside from you, Jay-Z.
Jay-Z and George. All right. That's not bad.
A lot of people say that.
Yeah,
You know, that's
Jay-Z
not
and
the
George
first
Reynolds.
time.
You're in good company.
So Jay-Z will listen to the beat, try and figure out what the beat itself is emoting. Not even what the producer was trying to get, like what the beat has taken on a life of its own, what it's emoting, and then he'll write to that.
Right.
So like I feel like as far as images go, I have that ability to like see deeper than normal people. Sometimes it doesn't work,
Right.
but most of the time it does.
And quick.
Yeah.
That's not, as, Sam is a songwriter. He sits down, he creates a song. It takes time. Yeah. I write lyrics. It takes me time.
Sure.
Like I just told you a story about Gary Vaynerchuk. Hey, I got a story to tell you. I practiced that on the way to coming over here.
In the mirror.
You did
I saw
great.
it.
I practiced it. How was I going to get it? What's the transitional words? What's the transitional statement? And Jay-Z, what you do, that's right off the cuff. That's freestyle. That's quick.
Yeah. Which is like after a while it becomes a comfortable position, but
Right.
there have been points in my whatever Instagram career where I was like, there's no way I could fucking keep this up.
Right.
No
I think
way.
we feel that way because anytime I write a song, like we're working on a new record, and as soon as like I actually get that chorus or get that last piece done, like I'm like, holy shit, what if I never write another song again? You know? And it's ridiculous because I play so much, but like you do get that because it's like, wow, all right, maybe these songs will never come easy again. But, you know, I guess sometimes they do.
If they do, they do. If not, you do something else. That's kind of like, you know, that's why I'm trying to build myself up outside of the platform of Instagram. Because Instagram, whether I keep going or not, Instagram is at some point going to lose favor with the masses.
Of course.
Right.
Has to.
Yeah.
It's just the way it goes. And I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to be upset that Instagram is not feeding me anymore. But I have to prepare myself because I'm an adult and a man and I have foresight and I want to take care of my family. I have to be prepared for the day when Instagram is not what it was. There will be something else. Maybe there won't. I don't know. Maybe everyone will just want to hang out in fucking parks and like barbecue all day.
But you've been
on the internet
doing different things your whole life. It's not like you started something so many years ago and here it finally hit fruition. This is you poke around a lot. Like you did bodybuilding. I always think this in a strange way, the comedy and comedian thing you did and bodybuilding is almost polar opposite. There's like, you know, there's like a self-effacing thing when you're a comedian, and then bodybuilding is pushing the limits of like vanity almost, and you're all of those things. You're like, you know, there's a lot in there.
Oh, I could be vain, but I could be humble too.
Do you think this song is about you?
I was so vain. I thought that song was about me, and I wasn't even alive yet.
Yeah.
That was a tweet I wrote like 2 weeks ago. I wanted to.
Oh, perfect.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
yeah.
No, but
We can hashtag Carly Simon now. Perfect.
I'm sorry, just real quick. The bodybuilding thing, it was. Making a joke about vanity. I really just wanted to see if I could do it.
Yeah.
It wasn't about how I looked, because to be honest with you, and I don't think I've ever said this on like a public forum. I thought I looked like shit. Mm-hmm. The closer I got to my goal, the more the goal moved. It was like a mirage that I just could never catch.
Right. But you were moving towards a physical look, which was what I meant by vanity.
But it's a mental idea of a physical look.
Yeah.
Like you're never going to get to where you think you look.
Was that
good.
after you got sober?
Yeah. That was like 4 years ago.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Like 3 or 4 years ago, after my son was born. As a dad, I wanted to like have pictures of myself jacked for him.
Right.
Just so even if I get like super out of shape, I can always say like, you know, here's a good model, because my dad was a good model for me for exercise.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the only jack pictures I have are the prison stretch that I did. But aside from that, you know, like...
Wait till Sam Jr. sees that.
Whoa. Hold on a second.
My daddy was jacked.
Oh, never.
What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
I don't remember. Probably. Oh, I was going to say, what was the... just out of curiosity, what was the material like for the stand-up?
Oh, it was bad. It was so bad.
Like, but what gave you like the balls? Because it's such a... I mean, you want to talk about playing acoustic or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nothing beats comedy. Like, you're going up there to try to make people laugh. Like, what fueled that?
What the fuck were you thinking?
You know, at 23, like that's, I don't know. All right. So
had I stuck with it, I probably would be in a different spot now. 23. I thought it was too late at that point, because I heard like Eddie Murphy started when he was 18. Dave Chappelle started when he was fucking 16, 14. So 23 I thought was old, but my whole life has been a series of me like doing things that I was deathly afraid of and just seeing if I didn't die when it was over. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Like the stand-up comedy, the getting sober, the bodybuilding, the doing the audition, the moving to California, like just these decisions that I've made where I'm like, I have to see what happens at the other side, on the other side of this challenge.
Right.
Not because I'm like so ambitious, just because it's really more that I'm scared than anything. And that's a way for me to deal with the fears, to just fucking do it, just face it.
Right.
And I got that from my older sister, who used to constantly just like fuck you in the face of fear. She would just be scared of something, she'd do it anyway. You know what I mean? Just to see what happened. When I moved to California, I went down to Maryland just to see if I could handle it, because I had such a bad time there in life. That was like the lowest point of my life before California. But I was drinking, I was blacking out, I was getting into fights. I had a whole series of problems down there, and I had never been down there, and I used to have like nightmares about Maryland, like the college town.
Yeah.
I'd be there and I'd be like, fuck, I can't believe I'm here again. So I went down there on purpose to face it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So my whole life has been that.
That's admirable, because it's not common, you know.
To have
people...
a reoccurring Maryland dream? Probably not.
It is.
It's like Freddy Krueger, Maryland.
But just to constantly go out on an edge like that and do it not because of you feel overconfident, but because you're tackling
Exact opposite, yeah.
a fear.
Yeah.
And that's it's classic, but that's what leads you here.
Yeah.
And now you're in a situation where you were always the influencer on Instagram with a day job.
Uh-huh.
But has that changed recently?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's over. That's canceled.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't have a
fences?
job anymore. Yeah, it's over. Why, you need a fence?
Yeah.
My girlfriend's like, don't show him the fence out in the back.
I know
because
a
it's
guy.
down.
My situation with the fence company was great. It served me really well, and it served him. I made him a lot of money. He made me a lot of money. And I just, it was so hard for me to walk away from, because my time was so, like, my own there. I was in sales. Like, if I didn't go to the office for a week, like, it really didn't matter. You know what I mean? Especially in the wintertime when nothing's going on and I'm still getting paid.
Yeah.
In the wintertime, wintertime is great because you do nothing, but the commercial jobs you did in June or September or whatever, they pay you in the middle of the winter. So, like,
Gotcha.
just when you think you're never going to make another dollar, you get a nice check, you know?
Okay.
But I had to make a decision I met these guys that, again, like, changed my entire life. Just like meeting these people and trusting them and digging into who they were and seeing what they were capable of. I've met these people who are the most capable people I've ever met. Like, I remember watching a documentary on Navy SEALs, and they were like, one of the guys was like, we're just experts in learning. We're not experts in everything. We're experts in becoming experts.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, that's their thing. Like, they're just very smart, and if they have to learn something, if I need to be fluent in German in 20 hours, I'll be fluent in German in 20 hours.
Right.
Like, that's how this guy is.
That's interesting.
These people that I work with, they're just
Great trait.
yeah. I wish I was that
Yeah,
smart.
me too.
So, yeah, I mean, they just sitting around with these guys, bouncing ideas around, trying to figure out how we're going to take this off of the internet into real life, or I guess off of Instagram and onto other platforms. We came up with some really cool things that needed more and more of my attention.
Right. And is that a bunch of guys, or is that Brand Fire?
Brand Fire.
That's
yeah.
Brand Fire.
Yeah.
And is that something you guys all created together, or that existed before you got there?
Brand Fire existed before I got there.
Okay.
Yeah, Brand Fire is an ad agency, digital firm, whatever. That you got two guys that run it. One of them was Donnie Deutsch's right-hand man for like 15 years.
Okay.
Just like a total fucking Madison Avenue advertising powerhouse, can come up with a line like that.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's great ideas, great taste. And Adam worked for Jesse Itzler at Marquis Jets. Jesse Itzler owned Marquis Jets. He owned the Utah Jazz. His wife owned Spanx. So he's like a big money guy. He's not like a huge star, but he's well respected in the financial world.
Yeah.
And Adam convinced him to invest in both of them, and they started it like 6 years ago. Things are changing a little bit now. We're starting a conglomerate corporation, like a parent company that has all these different legs underneath it, and they're all just, to hedge the bets. So if, like, you have the parent company, and then you have one arm that's a production studio that makes content and TV shows and movies. The other one is the ad agency, which creates copy and digital images and, buys media and distributes it through influencers. And then you have the app, the Moma Labs, which is like an app development company. If any one of those things takes off in a major way, they all do. So it's like you have a 300% chance of succeeding.
Wow. It almost seems like in this day and age, there's a feeling like, well, it's easier because you directly can contact people. But on the other side, everything you just mentioned, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you have to have today as a media company.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's no more like one trick ponies.
One floor. You know,
don't make
this
it,
is this is how we've always done it.
If they're already established, they can continue to make it. But if they want to stay dinosaur-y, then some of the Super Bowl ads. These guys did a Super Bowl ad that aired in Minnesota, and it was like the commercial itself was like people in the doctor's office with their phones out telling the doctor what they had. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like they Googled their symptoms, and he was, just calming them down and making jokes about how you really shouldn't do that.
Right.
But that's such a common thing, and it hit home, and people like lost their minds over the commercial. On the contrary, I saw a commercial for Hackensack Medical Center, which was like someone swimming with a heart monitor on. What the fuck was that?
Right.
So boring. Wow, you're swimming. Cool. You're not dead. That's great, Hackensack Medical Center. Great job. It's just you have to be, edgy, but not to the point where you're like, let's just see what we can get away with.
Right.
It has to be like a thoughtful push.
Right.
And that's where these guys shine.
Is that what you do there? Are you writing for them?
So the parent company is going to have all the companies underneath it.
Okay.
And as things develop, I'll be responsible for, my part in everything. So if these guys are stumped on an ad campaign, they need a line or they need some kind of direction with the message, they're open to my input.
And you got this all just from that Instagram page, basically creating the memes, and that's so they find you and they see. I guess, do they look at like followers or content or?
So what happened was, soon as I got involved in the memes, I mean, George can tell you. I was reading the email that I sent him today. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Like, why would you the words I use, like calling him Meng, I don't know, it's just like really weird. I was like 22.
Was that, 22, really?
I was 22, bro. So I just,
what was the email about?
It was just like, when I got sober, the first year of my sobriety was a fucking after school special. It was just like a made for TV Lifetime abuse for a year. Like everybody I loved died. Like the girl I was dating was a nightmare. It was just like, it just sucked. So I knew the band Mind Over Matter from back when I was very into the hardcore days. I just missed you guys in real life.
Yeah.
I just missed Neglect. I just missed Mind Over Matter. I came in when V.O.D, like when I was listening to the Tim Williams episode.
Yeah.
Oh, man, when he talked about that fucking, the Roxy show.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, dude. I had a fucking boner. I was like, oh, yeah, it was a sick one.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
Well, not the bone, but
I got one right now. Yeah. No, just the fact
Told
that.
you, no one's leaving.
Not now. Just the fact that he felt the same way about that show that I felt about it was cool, because I was 14. And I remember going to see Korn. Korn had the song Blind.
Yeah.
And that was like, I was like, oh my God, man, this song's crazy. I was into like Pantera and Sepultura and like just whatever, that normal heavy metal shit back then. And I went to go see Korn with my friend Chris. Now, thinking back, we talked about like the parents being okay with practicing in the house.
Yeah.
I have no idea how my mother let me out of the car in the middle of Huntington
At 14.
with those fucking people standing around.
Yeah.
Yeah. The scariest group of people, scariest looking group of people you'd ever seen.
Right.
We all know once you get in there,
They're
everyone's a
not,
bunch
yeah.
of fucking teddy bears. But like, from my mother's point of view, I can't believe she wasn't like, nope, fuck you. Just like take off down 110 into the water, rather drown us all than let me go to that show.
Right.
So we went in there, and I was waiting for Korn, and another band came on, and I did not even know that opening acts existed, because it was like my first concert.
Right.
So I was like, who the fuck are these guys? And all of a sudden you hear, get up, and then the explosion happened. That was all it took.
Yeah.
It was like a second and a half into the song, and it was mayhem. And I was upright by the front because I was I didn't even know what was going on.
Right.
I was right by the front.
Right.
I didn't know that was a bad place to be if you didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
So I was there, and I'm like, oh, fuck. I thought I was dying. I literally thought I was in like a whirlpool of knees and elbows, like
You were.
getting tumbled in a wave. Yeah, that's what I felt like. So the song ended, and I was like, oh, my God, what the fuck? I found my friend Chris. He was in the back. I was like, how did you get back here? He's like, I don't know. I was like, that was crazy. He's like, yeah, that was crazy. And I'm like, that was awesome. He goes, that was awesome. And that was it. I went to a show every single weekend. I went to the show a couple of weeks after that he talked about when at the PWAC.
Yeah.
The line was, around the corner.
Yeah.
And they just, from that point forward, I'm a man now, so I feel a little bit weird saying this, but those fucking guys were like gods to me back then when I was 14, 15.
V.O.D?
Oh my God, dude. To hear those 3 letters sometimes still gives me like
didn't you shave V.O.D. into your head? Was that you?
Yeah. How did I tell you that?
Yeah, I think the only way I know that I would have known it is
Facebook.
I think you posted a picture of it.
Yeah.
At one point. I did this.
Yeah.
And I feel like now
awesome.
now that you're saying all this, that's one of those you're scared about something things and you're like, I just got to put this picture out there because it's like I can't hold it in. I'm embarrassed of it.
That was right before a track meet. I was throwing the shot put and the discus, and I remember this group of black kids thought it was like the greatest thing they'd ever seen. They're like, hey, V.O.D.
Yeah.
V.O.D., throw that shot put, man. I was like, yeah, I'm going to throw this shot put for the brothers. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Make me feel stronger. Like, it gave me power. You know what I mean?
You got to hashtag that into like one of those pages of V.O.D. tattoos.
Yeah.
And there's all these tattoos and then your head
And then
with the
a head.
shaved V.O.D. in there.
People have V.O.D. tattoos?
Yeah.
Besides that one guy? I know the one guy has it on his stomach.
Yeah, there's like a VOD hashtag, I believe, on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of.
Yeah, people get tattoos of anything. Definitely. V.O.D. being an actual good band.
Yeah,
so
that's
I'm
not
sure.
bad.
Yeah.
And then from there, I got very into like tension and outrage and Indecision. I went to the city a bunch of times. I saw Indecision. I saw Fury of 5. I thought they were cool because the lead singer was just like a monster.
Yeah.
Madball I liked out of obligation, but I wasn't like, I didn't think they were that great. I just
Right.
liked them because like if you didn't like them, you got fucking murdered. Sick of
like
it all.
Madball, right?
Yeah, no, I love Madball. I meant we can edit this, right?
Yeah. Sam.
I feel like dying by the hands of DMS. But I loved those DMS bands. Like Bulldoze was one of my favorite bands, and I discovered them too late. I was like always too late to the
Right.
scene with the music. But VOD I timed perfectly, and then I kind of fell out of it, and then Element came out, which I thought was incredible. I think Element is probably the most perfectly crafted song of all time.
It's up there. I love
Across
that song.
like it's just
And
amazing.
VOD was actually just a better band in the hardcore world.
Yeah,
Just
were great.
They were many
very
notches
good.
above those bands.
Their new album, which I listened to as a result of that podcast, sounds just like the old stuff, but better.
It's great.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I keep saying Electric Sky is like one of the best songs they've ever written.
Yeah,
so good.
that I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if they kind of like they were experimenting or whatever. I wasn't really into the middle two albums.
Yeah.
But that one's really good. It feels good because I'm so lost with music these days because I don't like Disturbed.
Right.
I don't. Like I can't get into it.
Yeah.
You don't have to listen to Disturbed, right? There's other stuff.
Holy shit.
I'll send you a playlist or
Just changed my life.
yeah, it's,
George is not leaving.
I
until
did
he
find
hears this.
I found this band called Nails recently.
yeah.
They're fucking
super,
awesome too.
super heavy.
Yeah, they're really good. That was nice to find. Like when I find music now, I'm so appreciative of it.
How do you find new music now?
I'm always fucking around in Spotify or Tidal or something, just looking for.
You have Tidal?
Yeah,
Interesting. Why?
Jay-Z, bro.
Jay-Z. Oh, that's right. The Jay-Z shit. That's right.
I was so angry at him when he pulled his shit off Spotify
Me too.
that I didn't buy Tidal out of spite for a long time.
Yeah.
But then the way I justified it was on Tidal they have a hi-fi option when you're in the car, if you put a CD in of the same song that you're listening to on the MP3. So when you plug your phone into the car, the sound is flat because it's not right. It's not like equalized properly. It's not really like laid out on an MP3 to sound full and deep. So when you put a CD in, you hear all the shit. You hear the bass, the fucking everything. You hear every note if you want. So the hi-fi is that. It's basically like a remastered version of an MP3 that allows it to have depth and weight and sound, and it just sounds so much better. They're very limited on what they have, but like I was holding on to Spotify because like I found a Justice Unknown CD on there. Like, who the fuck, who gives a shit? You know what I mean?
Jesus
like, cool.
Christ.
I know.
I just saw the singer at the Tension Show Saturday.
Andrew?
Yeah.
Crazy. That guy, bro, he was
Matt
like...
too. Ken played guitar.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was... Yeah. Wow.
He was one of those people that I was scared of, but liked me, so it was cool for some reason.
I never met him.
It was good to have him.
I think he thought I was like a skinhead or something. Yeah. So he brought me in. But I again, like, I'm not... It's funny because now I'm thinking it, and... I've been thinking recently about like the way kids are in school now. I know this is way off topic.
Nothing's off topic.
Yes, this is.
Be the judge of
That to prove you wrong.
So like, racism and sexism, and it's all like a hot topic right now. And like, you really, really got to be careful about what you say, which I think is good and bad. I think it's good because it allows other people to feel safe and not feel like the world is against them. But it's bad because it's like, I don't want to walk on eggshells, but I also don't want to live my life being fully selfish and inconsiderate of people either.
Right.
Because that's a problem. So I've read an article about a kid that was like kicked out of school for drawing like a fucking knife or something.
Okay.
Something crazy, like
It was
way
a gun
too
or
much.
something. I think I remember
Something.
this. Yeah.
Something really like, wow, you kicked the kid out of school? And I remember my teacher called my mom when I was in 10th grade and said, we're a little worried about George. We think he might be getting into some trouble. We think he might be into like white supremacy and like Nazi stuff or whatever. My mom was like, absolutely not. Like, there's just no way. It's not possible. It's not who
got
he
that
is.
phone call too.
Did she really?
George. Yeah.
So you ever
I feel very comfortable now.
you ever conveniently forget a fucking piece of information that explains everything?
Yes.
Dude, I used to draw swastikas in my fucking in my books all day, every day, because I thought they looked cool.
I used to too, and I'm like Hispanic. So I used to just draw them just because I was like, wait, how did these things go? And I would always draw them wrong.
It's like you have this Stussy S or you have a swastika. Like, those are your two choices when you're 15.
Right.
I was doing either Metallica logo or a swastika.
So, I think about like how I was back then, and like I definitely like understand how the way I acted, even though it wasn't intentional, could have hurt somebody. Which brings me to my next point. I, for some reason, threw a hardcore show in Comac in like 1997.
Okay.
I wanted to do one so bad. I guess it was another one of those things where I was like scared. I figured if I could do it, it would be great. If not, no big deal. And Perception played. I don't know if you remember Perception. The guys from Huntington. They were really good. This Greg. This guy Greg was the singer, and
Sam
this guy
knows everything.
Dan was the guitarist. Dan Baronello.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, because Dan was in Buckshot Facelift later.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so they played. Outrage played. This band Days Lost and Sub DK. Do you remember Sub DK?
Yeah. Don.
Super skinhead band. Yeah, like really like all the way.
Yeah, I know those guys.
And I threw this show, and like it was a nightmare. It was horrible. I threw it at a dance club in Comac.
Okay.
Like 600 people showed up. It was a success, but it was a nightmare because I didn't get paid $1 from the promoters.
Okay.
The place was trashed, obviously.
Right.
And then like a couple of weeks later, I was at, I think it was at Mike's house, and Don from Outrage. Is that the guy's
Don
name?
was in Head On.
Who's the singer from Outrage?
Was Rick Smith?
Was it?
No,
I
he was
think it
in
was-
something like that.
I think it was Don, but whatever his name was, I
Okay.
thought he was going to like kill me because I didn't pay him. And I was like 15 years old at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, listen, bro, nobody got paid. I don't, I'm sorry. I'm like really sorry.
Promoters took that money.
Yeah.
Oh, the guys who took it, and the other thing, it was like $5 on the flyer. They were charging people $15-20 to get in.
Wow.
It was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know why I told that story,
Did-
but it seemed important for some reason.
Did it have anything to do with you drawing swastikas?
I don't want to talk about that anymore.
Yeah. What,
You,
all right.
you went from drawing
you
swastikas.
went from Jay-Z to swastikas. I like it.
Jay-Z.
But I wonder this, right?
Yeah, this
so,
is fuck, dude.
but you were drawing swats. I'm going to say it 4 or 5 more times before the thing is
Okay.
over. You were drawing swastikas, and you didn't mean anything by it.
No.
So I wonder if the question is are we like, you got to let kids explore, or do you got to be in there being like, You're a Nazi, dude.
No, you got to like, see that. And instead of calling the parents, maybe say, hey, that's not appropriate. You know what I mean?
What's your intention?
Like through a lot of therapy, I learned that the lack of direction in my upbringing was directly responsible for a lot of my like bad ideas of what's cool and what's not cool to do. Like I never got like, hey, I understand why you did that, but you shouldn't do that anymore, like ever again. So let's just not do that. I didn't get any of that.
Right.
It was just like we'd rather not, just don't talk about it.
Right.
Pretend it didn't happen. So that was kind of like the environment I was raised in, where I think it's good to pay attention to kids and make sure that they feel guided but not controlled. And having kids now, I'm very aware of that. But I also have no desire to live in a Harris Bergeron type of society where everybody's equal and nobody has a leg up on anybody in any way, shape, or form.
Right. I heard you talking about intention is everything. I heard you say in an interview one time, and this was about your memes, and when you start getting into edgy topics, and you had made a joke about gay people, and then you put up a post about that because it caused like a bit of an uproar.
Yeah, of course.
And you had this whole idea, like, what's the intent behind this thing? And that sort of missed the nuance and the intention of the person who's saying the thing that they said, and yours was a joke.
Yeah.
And I loved your response to the whole uproar. If you could repeat that whole thing, if you remember.
Was it the bay?
You can write this without being this.
I don't know. Something like the joke was, if you are a guy and you use the word bay, you are gay, right? But I spelled it Gae, which I thought was cute because it was a combination of guy and bay. It was like fucking no homophobic tendencies whatsoever.
Right.
So what happens on the internet, as you know, I'm sure,
believe me, we know,
bro. The outrage, the false outrage, and the manufactured like almost obligation to be outraged is ridiculous.
It's almost like they send out this call and they wake people up that have no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
they're like,
fuck this guy.
We gotta go over there. You gotta put comments. It's like, what happened? It's like, just this guy hates gay people.
Right.
We gotta comment immediately.
Right, rally the
it's like,
troops.
wait, what?
I learned that just like there's white versus black racism, black versus white, blah 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 blah. But then there's like inter-race racism, like light-skinned black people think they're better than dark-skinned black people.
Right.
So like
I'm Colombian. Well, my dad's Colombian, my mom's Dominican, and those two like my Colombian side is like more like pale, and the Dominicans are darker, and like the Colombians are just like, they look down on them. So it's like a funny thing. Like,
thing.
It's like everyone has a thing.
Of course.
Right.
Everyone, Scottish, Irish, like Sicilian, and
because they want to feel better than you.
Yeah.
And that's the only way they can do it, but based on something that fucking is laid out in their DNA, and they did nothing to earn.
Right.
You know what
Nothing.
I mean?
Yeah.
Zero, dude. How dare you be proud of your fucking skin color? Are you serious? So anyway, I said something like you can make fun of black people and not be racist. You can make fun of women and not be sexist. You can make fun of gay people and not be homophobic. And then the tie-up was something like, I know what you're talking about. I just don't remember exactly how it happened.
You could make a joke about,
like,
or you might just be making a joke.
Like whoever connected the lines between humor and hate made a mistake and we need to erase it or something like that.
Right.
Like, it's humor. Stereotypes are funny.
Right.
Me thinking you're less of a person and that you should have less rights because of the way you were born is not funny.
Right.
Yeah.
But the fact that, like, there was another one I made that was one of my personal favorites because it was like, it made me feel like I was in on something that I shouldn't be.
Right.
And it was a picture of a black kid smiling, swimming, and the caption was, "Haters will say it's Photoshop."
Yes. Okay, I think I've seen that, yeah. Yeah.
That came from me having a blast laughing with black kids in my swimming class at Nassau because they couldn't swim. They thought it was funny.
Right.
Then you have people say, well, they didn't really think it was funny. They were just laughing because they were fucking embarrassed. Like, well, I don't give a shit why they were laughing. They were laughing, and I was laughing with them.
Right.
That's a systemic... Robert Moses didn't let buses go to the beaches so they don't know how to swim. Shut the fuck up, dude. It's fucking funny. And if it's not funny, keep scrolling.
Right.
So you have like these like... intelligent, thoughtful You know who Jordan Peterson is?
Yeah, I love Jordan Peterson.
So you have Jordan Peterson, who's like the most sound-minded individual maybe ever born.
I just got his book.
And then you have like the fucking dregs of society who think they can hold a candle argument-wise because they read something on Tumblr that made them feel accepted.
Yeah.
And now they're part of this group. And you have like tolerant gay trans people who are like, I just want to live my life. I don't give a fuck what anybody does.
Right.
And they, so like the different skin colors within the races, like have their own things. Like these people, the tolerant, logical people of this group,
right,
think that these people are the worst.
Right.
So I don't even like pay attention to these people anymore.
Right.
The ones who were just there to fight, I try not to, but I also know that internet anger is like amplified 20 times. So whatever I'm getting from it, I have to take down a lot because
True.
It's not that it's not real, because it is real, and I do actually feel bad when I see stuff that, like, when people write, I should, like, kill myself. And then they'll go, why did you block me? Oh, you said you fucked my mom, and I thought that was weird, so didn't want to see you write it again, so I blocked you. But I know that the internet, people act a certain way on the internet because they feel that the internet is an excuse for their behavior when it's not. Because at the end of your internet is you, and at the end of my internet is me. It's still two people communicating.
Right.
Just because it's going through this filter doesn't mean that it's any less powerful. Mm-hmm. But I have to accept the fact that it is, because I know for a fact that people just don't talk that way in real life.
True.
I've had very meaningful conversations with people I've actually argued with prior to on Facebook.
Right.
And nothing ever got out of control. No voices got raised. We understood each other. And then the next fucking week, they're arguing about something on my page.
Right.
It's like, dude, be the same. Be the same. If you're going to be respectful in real life, be respectful on the internet.
Right.
Be considerate. Be thoughtful. Type out your response the way you really mean it, not the way that you just feel it right now because you're enraged.
Right.
Like, think about what you're doing.
It's like a cesspool sometimes. And I know the thing is, don't read the comments, and that's like the biggest rule. But like, it could be anything. It could be fucking anything. And I know, like, it'll be like a music article on, like, I don't know, I think like Madonna covered like Elliott Smith or something, I think I remember. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. Like, I like Madonna, but I love Elliott Smith. And I hit the fucking comments, and it's just
boy.
It's unreal.
It's just like, who the fuck does she think she is? Like, every terrible comment. And it's just weird. Like, but I guess, I don't know, you just get, those people get used to just commenting total negative shit. And I think it almost goes back to your book, where if you're happy or with yourself or happy just in general for whatever reason, like, I can't imagine you're going to go on unless you have a personal serious gripe. But like,
no, those people are not happy.
Yeah, they're not.
No,
right?
they can't be. It's not. I'm only speaking from experience, because I've actually given people a hard time on the internet that I didn't know when I was in a bad spot. And it's just, I know that it comes from a place of pain, which gives me some sympathy for them. But it also at the same time is like, get your fucking shit together. And go somewhere else.
It's not equal. Like, everybody will comment on your piece. Mm-hmm. It's that the most likely person to comment on your piece is in a bad mood, or is in a bad spot, or is, there doesn't tend to be like equal amounts all the time. So it's just like a type of person that would write that type of stuff.
Well, there's also like, it's a person who isn't able to express themselves and be powerful in other ways in their real life and affect change and be meaningful, so that they go on the internet and say something horrible to try and get a response.
Right.
That's what most of it is. I've actually responded to people who were in the middle of telling me that I'm a fucking piece of shit and I should actually literally blow my brains out, and I'll respond like, like, what are you talking about? Right? Why would you say?
Is that on like one of your memes or like something?
Yeah, direct message. Fuck you, you fucking bald bitch. I'll respond.
Out of curiosity,
why
like,
would you talk to somebody like that?
What would those pictures be like? Why would they feel that way?
It has nothing to do with anything.
Just
nothing. Yeah, there's no picture that spurs more. Okay. You know what I mean? It's just like a random, totally random. And sometimes I'll respond to them, and more often than not, they're like excited that I responded to them. And they want to like hang out now. They want to like be friends.
And it diffuses it.
No, fuck you. You're blocked.
No, I mean, do they tend to like back down, or?
Oh yeah, like they'll say something terrible, and I'll respond like, you can't talk like that here, or something like that. Just any kind of acknowledgement for them is a big deal, because I hate to say this because it's going to sound arrogant, but I'm like somebody to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's like out of touch or out of reach. So when they can reach me, even if it's negative, they will get some kind of satisfaction out of it. And then when they get the attention, they go, "Oh my God, I can't believe you responded."
Right.
And it's too late for me at that point. I just blocked them, but it kind of takes the sting out of the interaction on my end.
Right.
Because I'm like, oh, they just wanted attention.
Yeah. That's
weird.
like human 101 right there. It's just like, it happens. Like, I'm not going to mention names. I'll just say my mom on occasion if she wants my attention.
friend named Mom.
My friend named Mom, like, on occasion, like, you know, if I don't really interact with her enough sometimes, she'll say some shit that she knows that will make me respond.
You wish I was dead, huh?
Yeah. Something like that. So,
But, you know, what we could talk about to counter this whole thing here is Tank's Good News.
Oh, yeah. Funny story about that, too.
Well, let's have it.
So that account, the original name of that was Troll Blast.
I like that.
And what I was going to do is I was going to highlight shitty people on the page saying heinous things.
really?
Yeah.
That's the funniest shit. You got to do that anyway.
So I had this intention that I was going to like expose these people and say like, in my book I wrote something along in this book that the program I go to uses. I can't say it because it's like anonymous.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
It's anonymous.
It's anonymous?
Yeah. Wink, wink.
I can't represent it on a public forum.
That's
Oh,
right.
that's branding.
So it says, you know, nothing pays off like restraint of tongue and pen is a line in the book that reminds people to like just shut the fuck up sometimes. So I changed it to restraint of tongue, pen, and thumbs because when you write a text, not only are you taking more time to actually consider what you're saying, it's in writing for people. So screenshots can happen, and now you're on the hook for like. But it seems like people pay even less attention to things that they say in writing in public.
Right.
Fucking bizarre.
That's true.
So I wanted to like take that and like just tell people like you're accountable for this. Like you said this. I don't know what kind of a mood you were in. I feel bad that you felt the need to say this, but the bottom line is you did say it and you should deal with it and you should know that this is like a shitty thing to say.
Right.
Might not have an effect, but that's how the account started off. And then I said Hurricane Harvey started and I changed the account of the name to Tank's Good News, the name of the account to Tank's Good News.
Right.
And I started posting like heroic stories from Harvey and people going to bat for each other.
Yeah.
And it just fucking exploded.
Yeah.
It got so crazy so fast. It was great. I mean, it was very rewarding for me because it was so pure and it was undeniably positive and it was like untrollable almost. Because I'm very careful. I don't post anything we all know that global warming is a human issue, not a left issue.
Yeah.
But it's considered a left issue because of this fucking idiot in office that makes everyone think that everybody's lying to everybody always, except him. So anyway, I don't post anything about that. I don't post anything about gay rights or trans rights because it's inflammatory to a large enough group of people that it's like not worth it.
Right.
So the stuff that I post is like undeniably good for humanity.
Troll proof.
Not just a group.
Right.
You know what I mean? But there's still trolls.
Yeah, I'm sure. No matter what.
Bill Gates donates $2 billion to education. Somebody goes, he's fucking running a sex trafficking ring in his fucking basement. What? What?
Is that Pizzagate?
Basically, anybody who's doing something good is on the hook for something horrendous as far as people are concerned.
Right.
It's just
I'd like to think that that's the minority. Those vocal,
very minor.
Those vocal people, but yeah, definitely. Like you could, I could almost. I didn't see because I don't have Instagram, but I could almost just read it.
But it's cool that you decided
feel the spirit of it.
Yeah.
You're curating good news. You're feeding that part of the world. Like, let's put out some good stuff. Let's put together a bunch of good stuff. It's under this banner. I mean, Troll Blast is pretty good, but Tank's Good News, and then it's, you know, you have comedy on one side, you have this good news on the other side.
Yeah.
So that's good, yeah, because you're making people laugh and smile.
Yeah.
So when you make someone laugh, I mean, I can't think of anything more like disarming than that.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like you make somebody laugh or smile, it's just like, who would hate on that? You know?
No, yeah, it's very hard to, but there are people who do. But the Tank's Good News thing, it was like like a perfect storm of frustration and thirst for something positive, I think, in people that I was able to service and to make, this. I have to believe that there's something about me, in the way I was raised and the way I see the world, that affects the stories I pick, that affects the tone of the page that people appreciate.
Right.
It's not just, you couldn't just like, there's a couple of pages out there that are very sappy, and if they're not sappy, they're preachy, and if they're not preachy, they're partisan. This is like none of those things.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if I can deliver some good news and write a little witty caption about it, then it's a win. It's a home run.
Actually, there was one question before that, though. We were talking about, I guess, like humor and how, I guess, people can get a little sensitive, and you did have that issues with the the gay wording. Does that like affect you in the future, or does that make you second guess certain things when you start making memes? Or yeah,
definitely.
Does that suck?
Again, it's like nobody wants to walk on eggshells, but nobody wants to be a rogue asshole either and just say whatever the fuck they want, whenever they want, at anybody's expense. So I'm not trying to not offend the always offended, because I know that whatever I say, there will be some kind of offense taken, but I'm not trying to be like offensive for real.
Right.
Like the real offended, like not just like I'm offended. Like I know what's offended or what's offensive and what's not offensive.
Right.
And every once in a while, I will sacrifice a little bit of sensitivity where I think humor supersedes that. I think if it's on a scale of 1 to 10, if it's 2 offensive and it's 8 funny, I'm fucking posting it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's because you're a writer.
Yeah.
That's the difference between someone being a writer and being artistic, and someone just being an asshole and trying to push buttons.
Yeah, which is like 8 offensive and 2 funny.
Right.
Like you're just saying shit to get a rise out of people, which is.
And they're like, you can't take a joke. And you're like, that's it. I can take a joke.
I just don't think the Holocaust is funny.
It's not,
yeah, because there are certain people that will do that, and I see it, and I'm just, they're like, oh, you got soft, and I was like, well, no, it's just not really funny, and like we're talking not amongst each other, we're talking in internet land, and you kind of look stupid. And
that was the reason why you did it. You did it to be offensive, and you offended people. How are you upset? If there's that too. When people are just trying to push buttons, and then they do, and they're like, "What? What?" It's very passive aggressive.
Trying to push buttons, and you're like 45.
Yeah. Do you know the word normie? Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Normie,
like the normies.
Cheers?
Yeah. Normie. So that's a word that whenever somebody uses, I automatically have zero respect for what they're going to say after that.
Yeah.
It's like it's a sign that you are just a moron. And you think that only edgelord shit is funny, and it's not even actually funny. It just makes you, like when you see gore or something, right?
Right.
It's people who like actually actively seek out like dogs getting killed and like women getting.
Jesus Christ.
It's like a big, not big, but it's definitely there.
Yeah.
Because it's like cutters, like when they cut themselves, they don't actually want to cut themselves. They just feel so much pain inside that they have to express it some way.
Yeah.
So like they don't probably like this humor, but it makes them feel nauseous in some way, and because it makes them feel anything, that feeling is better than not feeling anything. So they keep gravitating towards that. So when they see somebody like me call me a normie, it's like, I'm sorry you're sick, but I cannot tailor my humor to your Hitler sense of humor. Like it's just, you know what I mean?
Right. They're like, he's a civilian. He doesn't, he doesn't
get it.
He doesn't get our GI thing here. Yeah.
Oh, it's so fucking stupid. Yeah. It's a very well-known thing. It started on 4chan, and basically like if I'm a normie, it means I'm not 380 pounds with a fucking neck beard, drinking Mountain Dew and eating Doritos at 3 a.m. playing video games.
You're not in on that clique that gets twisted humor. You're a civilian. You're the normal.
I don't think anybody gets it. I think it just makes them feel something. So they're like, I've never, ever, George, Sam, in my entire life, have never seen somebody laugh about the Holocaust. Ever.
Yeah.
Yet on the internet, it's like a thing to post like memes about people in concentration camps.
Right.
That shit is not funny, dude.
Right.
I'm sorry. I know funny.
Right.
I'm very liberal about what my idea of funny is. If it's funny, it's funny. No matter whether or not it's appropriate.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that's just it can't be funny. I have to call your bluff and say that you're just fucked up.
Right.
Save it for the picture text.
Right. Save it between
Yeah.
the non-normies, between yourselves.
Talk about it in jail when you get there. And,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, talk about in jail when you get your Wi-Fi password.
But there is something I wanted to ask you about before we go, is this new app.
Where are we going? Nobody's going anywhere.
Oh, that's
We live
right.
Here now.
You're all not leaving.
Oh, okay. I was just
Okay,
playing air
you're
drums. Go
playing.
ahead. Yeah.
He was playing air drums.
Yeah.
But tell us about your new app.
So the app is called Moma's Meme Studio, and Momus is a name that people tend to have a little bit of a hard time with. But basically, the reason we named it that is because Momus was the Greek god of satire. And we thought it was like cool to name it that. Like Nike was the speed of the goddess of speed.
I didn't know that either.
So Momus is the Greek god of satire. It's a way for you to express yourself and your humor without any technological barriers whatsoever. Like if you can send a text, you can make a meme.
Wow.
And we spent a lot of time on it. We spent a lot of phone calls and money and heated discussions that weren't really heated. It was just like I was ready to give up on the perfection of it way before everyone else was. And they made it for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I was the one who was like, these meme apps all suck.
Right.
They're all there. They do make memes, but they just look weird. There's too much white space around the edge. Spacing between the font and the picture is too much. The font's too big. The font's not right.
Okay.
The picture skin is not big enough. Whatever. A million different things wrong with these apps. They're not easy to use. They're not user friendly. So we made like I think we put on there the king of all meme apps. Like it really is. There's not a better meme making app on the market, period.
Could this put your Instagram account like way down? If someone is able to make memes, then there goes your whole gig.
Well,
Tank Sinatra.
if people, the missing ingredient is always still humor. So I can give you all the resources that I have,
Right.
but if you're not funny,
Yeah, like you could sell a guitar to someone
Exactly.
who doesn't know how to play. But can you walk us through like the functions? Like,
Yeah.
how does it work?
so you.
Do you have like stock photos in there, or do you
Yeah.
just pick something?
So we wanted something that was like primarily user friendly. So we wanted like, there was cell phones and Blackberries and all that stuff before that, but when the iPhone came out, it was like nothing else existed, or then the Android. But the Android made the Blackberry look fucking obsolete. It was just like there was no going back. So we wanted something like that where it was like undeniably user friendly, like even a kid could do it. So you open the app, you press make a meme. It opens up the templates. You have classic, square, tall for a tall picture, and short. And then we have custom templates underneath, which is where we get into paid. It's a free app, but some of the features are paid, where you can make a fake news story. You can make a fake Donald Trump tweet. You can make other different like popular meme macros, like the guy looking back. I don't know if you've seen that one where we have the labels, and it's just whatever you've seen on the internet, we made it very easy for you to customize it and put your words and your touch on it. So let's say you pick a square classic template, you pick the one with 2 lines, you write your text. If it's 1 line and you thought it was 2, you go to the one with 1 line. Everything's very quick back and forth between what you need. Then you click, image, and then it brings you to your camera roll first, because that's just like what everything does. So we had a lot of discussions about that too. And then the second option is a Reddit feed that we populate with popular meme images that are not like Scumbag Steve. Like that's what you get with the other apps, like memes from like 2012.
Okay.
So these are like the best part of the Reddit feed is like when and it's just an example that always pops into my head. When the guy got dragged off a United flight, pictures started popping up. Like within a couple of minutes of those pictures being released, they would be on the Reddit, the Momus app.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's a Reddit feed that goes through the app. So it's not like we have to submit it to the App Store and get whatever. Then you apply your watermark. You apply the Made with Momus watermark if you want to, and then you save it, and that's it. It takes all of about 30 seconds.
Wow. And it's so ever changing. If there's always pictures,
of course.
Get from.
And new templates. We're coming out with new Valentine's Day stickers tomorrow. We have another new sticker pack coming out. Before, I used to go to Reddit, find an image, screenshot it, go to Twitter, write my tweet, crop the image, tweet it, go to my profile, screenshot that, go to another app, crop that, go to another app, put my watermark on it, and then go to Instagram. So it was like one of those things where like we said before, if you have $50, 2,000 is 2 million.
Yeah.
It was not that it was too long for people. It was just impossible.
Right.
Like they were never going to figure it out.
Right.
Not worth
I'm
the
going
effort.
to tell my friend Jerry Smith, who is the meme lord, to download this application because he's going to love the shit out of it.
Oh, he's going to love it.
How long till it's Android ready for us scrubs?
So it came out 2 weeks ago on iOS, and what we're doing now is just collecting all of the like data from people, the feedback, the bugs. We're going to make the iOS app perfect, and then we'll start the development on the Android. It won't take that long to get it out. But I'm very excited because the amount of comments and requests that we get for Android is like almost staggering.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
too much. You know what I mean? Like I don't even want to do any advertising for it yet because to take out an ad on Facebook,
Yeah.
there's a 70% chance you're hitting an Android user.
Right.
Like there's no reason to do that if you don't have an Android app.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I mean it's just a perfect meme making app. Everything. And it was like the way Adam explained it to me. Adam is the guy who's the one of the partners at Brandfire. Like I told him, I'm like, yo, it's good enough. Let's just get it done. Like
Right.
we were on the phone one day with the developer in Israel, the project manager in Israel. We were all on a conference call. I'm like, yo, it's fine, bro. It's good enough. And he's like, you think fucking Michael Jordan said his fucking sneaker was fine when he was making his fucking Jordans? And I was like, okay, I guess not, but
Timely reference.
Yeah, when you're doing something creative and you feel like it's there, you just want to get it out.
but it's not.
Yeah.
You're just done. It wasn't there.
Yeah.
Looking back now, like with my book, I was done writing that book 6 months before it came out. Every time I sat down to do something to it after that point where I had said I'm done was like torture.
Yeah.
But it wasn't done. It was done when it was done. It was done when the publisher said it was done.
Right.
Not when I said it was done. If you leave the the prison to the inmates, like
Yeah.
shit's gonna get fucked up.
And
I
that's
need a
an
warden.
important part is having a team when you're stepping into
Sure.
this next level
100%.
that you trust. You know, that they're not saying it's done and you're like, wait a minute, it's not done. You want the people, the app developers, these people to say, we need to do more.
And thankfully, I'm not big enough yet where people are scared to say no to me. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like I'm not even close to that.
Physically, you are.
Physically, yeah, definitely, maybe. But when we're on the phone, you got some time to run. No, so I mean, you have people like, not to name names, but Kevin Hart has an app called. Not that he's gonna fucking listen to this or give a shit.
Oh, he's one of our biggest listeners.
I think
You
he's
mean
a
one of your
subscriber.
smallest listeners?
Heyo, make a meme out of that.
So he has an app called LOL Network, which is a fucking horrible app. This guy's got the world by the balls.
Right.
And he's got people around him who are too scared to be like, yo, this shit sucks.
Right.
On the other hand, so you have like this stature and this team, and it's very rare to like it all come together. You have Eminem, who was ready, and at the right time Dr. Dre came in and they fucking bolstered each other and they
Right.
couldn't lose. You have Jay-Z, who like picks the smartest, most talented, most creative people ever. Every time I've ever seen him do a show, it's just off the fucking charts.
Right.
Everything about it, the sound production, the visual production, it's just all good. And then you have other stars who are like, I'm just gonna bank on my name. Your name will get a download,
Yeah.
but your name will not get daily active users, which is
Right.
what you want. Quality will get you that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I didn't want to be a surface success. I wanted the quality of the app to supersede any reach that I had.
Right.
So that whatever reach I did have would be more of like a plant of a seed, and once people got in the app, they'd tell people how good it was.
Yeah. How
You know
much
what I
fun
mean?
it is.
How easy it is.
Yeah. They leave their other app and be like, no, I got to use this one now.
Because people send me screenshots of themselves in group text where they'll take a picture that their friends send them and make a meme out of it like in under a minute.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, how the fuck did you do that?
Right.
How did you do that? Because it looks like it was made for real.
It's like, all the kids are doing it now. It's a very, very big with the kids today.
Kids these days.
Yeah. I saw one that made me laugh, and it was because of the Tide Pod thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the Rancid lyrics to Time Bomb, only they replaced it with Tide Pod. I'm like, Yes. This is just like, it's funny and it's always relevant because the memes change with these stories.
Yeah.
You know, so you always see whatever's popping, whether it's like Cash Me Outside Girl or what, like, it's just like, what's the meme of the day? And
Well, that was the one thing that when I said before I got worried about being able to produce, I said as long as the world keeps going and I keep seeing it the way I see it,
yeah,
it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
You know?
There was a thing I remember being like, man, who writes this shit? It's Tank Sinatra.
Well, yeah, they.
It's like you
think
actually
that-
know the source.
You
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
they come out of the sky?
Yeah.
And for a minute there, like, I just didn't. You know, I thought like the internet. I don't know. You know, you never
Ether.
you never
They
think
just-
about it.
Right.
Who knows where they come from?
Yeah.
They just appear.
Did you see my girlfriend, and we bring it everywhere. We there's a game called What Do You Meme?
Oh, yeah.
Fucking love it. But they took the format of Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah.
And they just put it
I know.
to memes.
It's actually so the creator of that, Fuck Jerry, contacted me about doing that, and he said he had a couple of my captions in it that he wanted to use, and would I, allow him to use them? And I said, yeah, whatever, because I thought it would. Again, like 0% chance he's going to listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's that fun because the pictures are so old
Okay.
that I feel nothing for them. Like, I
Right.
feel no emotional response when I look at a picture that I've seen 1,500 times.
Right.
You know what I mean? But for people that are not balls deep in the world of memes,
Right.
my wife loves it.
Yeah,
she
it's-
loves it.
It's great. We played it like we went to Arizona for I guess Christmas and like New Year's with her family, and we brought the game, and it was just like a bunch of fucking like 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds like laughing, playing it. So they don't know what's going on.
No, and it's just very typical of that guy's brand too, because you have Fuck Jerry, whose logo is the Solo Cup, not original.
Mm-hmm.
His whole page is reposted material. He does find good stuff, and it's clean and it's timely and whatever. You have What Do You Mean, which is a take on a Justin Bieber song, What Do You Mean? The whole thing is a ripoff of Cards Against Humanity. It's like when you're that kind of person, you're limited as far as what you're going to be able to do. He's very, very, very successful.
Right.
But if I could, I wouldn't trade places with him because
Yeah.
I trust myself more.
Right.
I
That
just
makes
can't believe
sense.
I'm enjoying a game that has anything to do with Justin Bieber. So
No, it
I
has
take back
nothing
my
to do with him.
endorsement, sorry.
But there was a song, What Do You Mean?
he's no mind over matter. I tell you that.
He's no auto manipulation. He's no life loss. Tell you that much.
He's no VOD.
He's no fucking Tim
You want to know a
Williams, bro.
funny story?
Yeah.
George says to me, he's like, I just want to tell you that this particular song, it's got, the best lyrics and it's the best sound and the way your voice is. And I was like, dude, that's life loss. I wasn't on that song. I didn't write the lyrics. I had nothing to do with that. As a matter of fact, he's like, don't tell me that.
Is it the email where he wrote "Mang"?
No, that was I think a physical conversation.
Yeah.
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 We never got to the point of the email. Why'd you write him?
So in my first year of sobriety, I was just like a mess. I was a total mess. I was like a walking nerve to begin with, and then my cousin died in a motorcycle accident. He hit a car on the Sunrise Highway. The BMW motorcycle exploded, and he died. Then my friend Mike died of a drug overdose, who I was very, very, very close with from a young age. He was like the only friend that I kept from my younger years. And then my aunt was killed in a car crash in August. So it was May, July, August. And the girl that I was dating was like kind of problematic, and I was just a basket case. I was just a mess. But I'd sit on the beach because she lived in Long Beach, and I would sit on the beach and I would listen to Mind Over Matter. And I'm the auto manipulation and the lyrics to some of the songs, and it's just the fucking. If you know the album, it's fucking incredible. It's not like anything else I've ever heard before. The vocals are unique. The way that so you had like Tim's voice worked with the music of V.O.D. for some reason. There was something
Right.
about the tones and the fucking rhythm and whatever that it just worked. It was like that, but like more, because it was so. I don't know how to describe it without sounding like esoteric. It was so airy and beautiful and arranged well and meaningful that I just couldn't stop listening to it. And it got me through some very, 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 very dark times where I felt like I didn't feel like you were in pain when you were writing it. I felt like you were talking to people who were in pain, or maybe you had come from a place of pain. But like, the lyrics about your father and Drown the Problem. It was just like I felt spoken to personally by the album. And I think anytime a piece of art reaches you personally, it becomes special to you. And that one was like just on another level.
Yeah, that means a lot. And when you wrote to me, it was that thing. You're like, I just want to like talk to you about this.
Yeah,
it's very. George has always been just very like hard on his sleeve and just very honest. And it always comes from like this such a good place. And you're very like just this is what I want to say, and you bring things out to the forefront. And I go back between our IMs and just we've talked on the phone sometimes. We've always just sort of like had those discussions about what we went through, where we've been, and then we wouldn't talk for quite some time, and then talk again for whatever reason. And that's the relationship we've had.
Who knows why?
No, because we both like saying George to the other George.
Yeah. So I wrote him an email to express my gratitude for him putting energy into writing that album. Cool. So he writes me back and he says, I was just going through some notes and lyric books and whatever, and that album I actually like just kind of wrote on a whim because there was a car fire with all my lyrics in it before we recorded it. So it was like from the heart.
Really?
Some of those songs, yeah.
So it was from the heart, and then he was like, I'm sure this wasn't the only time you had been in this state of mind, but he said, I was just sitting here thinking about why I do all this and whether or not it's worth it, and then I get your email. So it was like we both kind of like did each other a solid by just existing.
I was literally, when I was doing George, I had just boxes and stuff of papers written on, things that were like, oh, I wrote that song, and things I never used, and it were just piles of them. And I was like, and my girlfriend at the time was like, you should just put that all in like a book, like so you can read it, like put it in like a photo album. And I was like, it's like important, you know what I mean? Like that felt like, like verbose, like to just be doing that, And then I think I was ready to do it, or was thinking about doing it, or something like that. And then I got your email about words, and it's your words, and we're talking about my words, and it's just one of those things that it all, accumulates. Culmination of something.
Which, as we're talking, to talk again about the degree to which I'm offensive, if my words can have that positive effect and your words can have that positive of an effect on me, then of course the opposite is going to be true, that your words can have a negative effect on somebody. And you don't want to be outlandish and rogue, but you have to kind of be a little considerate of the state of just humanity, not like a particular subsect of fucking people that only there are 3 of.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like it's impossible to please everybody all the time, and out of 1.4 million people, somebody's going to be having a bad day.
And words are messy. Conversations are messy. But the more you do it, the more you write, the more you speak, the more you make memes, the more you get to know where you're coming from. You get to it's still at the end of the day an imperfect thing that we do.
Yes.
And
there's a lot left to interpretation.
Yeah, but it's coming from somewhere. But if you're just not trying to just offend people all the time, it's a different conversation.
What's funny is there have been times where people have reached out to me about something I posted where they're like, oh man, that was the funniest meme you ever posted. And I have to be like, I didn't make that one.
See, happens to the best of us.
Exactly.
But my favorite, the Rock Obama, which wasn't, you said it wasn't your picture?
No.
But you captioned it.
Yeah, I can't
motherfucker.
The incompletion of that. How dare you?
That was like the perfect one right there then.
He reposted that.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yep.
Oh, dude.
And if he runs, that's going to be,
I got reposted by the president. Bro.
Well, if The Rock runs for presidency with Obama as his VP, then that's the picture that they're going to use.
That was like one of the most exciting moments of my entire life, embarrassingly enough.
That's a big fucking moment.
Yeah.
I mean, for the field that you're in, this is what you're doing.
That's like the World Series.
Yeah,
it's like winning the World Series.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's no like. And it was the caption that he used was like this. We have something in the meme world called a power tag, where like it's not necessarily like, hey, go follow so and so. It's like you have to be a little discreet and like just kind of endorsed the account without telling people to go follow it, kind of like give them a little credit and let them figure it out.
Right.
And that's basically what he did. He said something like, hilarious stuff from Tank Sinatra. I don't know where my face ends or his face begins, or I forgot what the rest of the caption was, but it was like one of those, and I wound up, it was like overnight I put on like 25,000 followers.
What is 2018 gonna be like for you?
It's gonna be lit, dude.
Perfect. There you go.
Lit AF.
Lit AF.
It's gonna be lit-af, bro.
If you could describe 2018 in a meme, what would it say?
No, 2018 should be a very productive year for us. Very, very, very productive, because it's like all the stuff. It's we've put the work in. It's just like we're in a process right now of trying to raise a little money to get this stuff that we've been working on for 2 years. That's almost done. Just some money to like get it done and out and like in front of everybody. We have the app is out, which is tremendous because the feedback and the downloads and the purchases and everything has been like way beyond what we expected.
Wow, good.
Way beyond what we expected. It's still not profitable yet, but it only came out 2 weeks ago, and it was very expensive to make. So we're betting on the fact that the longer we keep pushing it, it'll be profitable sooner than later, and then we'll go from there.
Right.
We're doing a Tank's Good News show, TV show.
No kidding.
That's
incredible.
We're talking to 3 different production companies right now. All of them are solid, vetted, good. We did our due diligence. We're not like just talking to some, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Like these are real production companies.
Right.
They all have a
on
different.
the homeboy shop.
Hey, this is Jerry Hella.
I work for you, sleazy.
They all have different takes on what the show would be. One person wants to go to Facebook Watch. The other one wants to go to a network. The other one wants to go to a different network. So it's like, that's all good. And then we have Meme Gods, which is a documentary that we shot that's coming out soon-ish.
Wow.
We're almost done filming it, but that I'm so fucking excited about.
Jesus
Meme Gods.
fucking Christ, that sounds awesome.
That's awesome.
I'm a big meme guy, man. I'm a meme guy.
Yeah.
I'm down with, like, I'm a big meme guy, and I'm very critical of memes on Facebook.
I know a bigger meme guy than you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Besides Tank, who?
George. Resh.
George Rash.
Yeah, all right.
Well, I've been friends with him for like
I'm
15
just saying,
years,
you know.
so I can call him George. You call him Tank.
You follow Tank? That's cool. He wrote me an email once that said I changed his life.
I didn't even know he was Tank Sinatra. I saw him with Gary Vaynerchuk, and it was so weird.
Oh, Tank? Oh, you mean George, my personal friend?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that guy.
I hate
He's
when people
hilarious.
do that. But there's a lot of faceless people, a lot of faceless accounts reaching people on like a daily basis, 4, 5, 6 times daily, touching people's lives, making them go at work.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which is like amazing. That's the most you get out of somebody most of the time. But to be one of a million people who have a one-way relationship with a creator like the funny introvert, and then to see what he looks like and see how he talks, and like some people are going to be like, oh, this guy fucking sucks, I can't believe and other people are going to be like, oh my God, that's what he looks like, I can't believe it, that's so cool, that's what his voice sounds like.
Yeah.
So we want to give that gift to everybody, from everybody. We got like 30 people together that all make memes, which I have to tell another story because it's important, but we basically wanted to highlight the fact that there are people making these things, like you guys said, they don't originate out of thin air. There are creative minds behind these memes, and we wanted to showcase that. But the way that I met these guys, which is important because it's another example of something good coming out of something bad. When I first got involved in this, I was very into the community aspect of it, and I liked the fact that there were other people doing what I was doing. So one day, I started a group chat with like 10 people, and one of the people in the group chat was this guy, Black Humorist. Brian Black is his name.
Okay.
So we became friendly, and there was like 10 people in it, and tragically, one of the guys in the group died of a drug overdose. He was brilliant. He was like the only person back then that was making his own content. Mm-hmm. So I went to the funeral because it was local, and Brian came to the funeral also because it was local, and he had some ties to the father somehow. I forgot exactly how, but basically we met, and then I went into the city for another meeting, and I texted Brian. I said, hey, where do you work exactly? You by Penn Station? He said, yeah, we're on 38th and 8th. I said, I'm going to come by. So I come by, say hi to Brian, meet everybody, meet Adam Padilla, and fucking that was it. That was it. It was like fucking explosive creativity from both of us. We were
Right.
like, oh, fuck, man, where have you been, dude? Like,
Wow.
we're going to
Yeah.
fucking do some big shit together. You could just tell. It was one of those relationships that formed instantly. It crystallized and fucking hardened and was like instant.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, let me feel this guy out. I just knew that this was one of those people. And then as time went on, the execution and the ideas that we came up with together just solidified it to the point where we're at today. And it's like, I always trusted Joe, the guy who owned the fence company, with my career. I always felt like he was going to, like, it was up to me to sell, but he was going to run the company and make sure it was healthy and the bills were paid and we were never going to go out of business because he
Right.
just wouldn't let that happen. That's how I feel about these guys. They're just very, very, I trust these guys with my life, basically, my livelihood at least.
Right. And that's exactly what you're doing. This is
Yeah.
a hard transition in a way, I'm sure, going from someone you trust, like the fence company, to these guys. So
Yeah.
it's got to be.
Well, still, I have to trust myself, and my wife was a little touch and go about the leaving the fence company, and she was, it's guaranteed money, and I was like, I'm in sales. It's really not.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Sales is tough.
it's not guaranteed money. It was.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
had good relationships with people who referred us, and I had a good referral network, but it was nothing. Nothing was guaranteed.
Right.
I still had to perform every single day.
Right.
Which I like doing. I like performing.
But at the end of the day, you're betting on yourself.
Yes.
That's the biggest quotient. So you're like, I'll go this way because, I feel good about these people, but I bet on myself.
Yeah, and I'm betting on them, and they're betting on me, and they're betting on themselves. It's all we're taking a risk, but it's like one of the least risky risks I've ever taken because it's just everything is perfect.
Right.
Sounds awesome.
That's good.
Kind of like it was a risk coming here.
Me? All right. Yeah.
Now I can't leave, so I guess I was right.
Can't leave. Get comfortable, boys.
This is like Three's Company. I'll be Janet. You could be Chrissy, and actually no, you could be Chrissy. I guess you'll be Jack Tripper.
Yeah, why can't I be Jack? What's John Ritter's name?
Jack.
Tripper.
Oh, that's Jack Tripper?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Roper.
Oh, no. You want to be Stanley Roper?
What a goofy motherfucker that guy was, man.
All right, so
funny.
last
Jack?
question.
Yeah.
Right? Last question. The name of the show is If I Ruled the World.
Ooh.
So we ask every single one of our guests. Tank, George Tank. George, if you rule the world, what would that look like?
I don't know, man. Pretty cool.
AF.
If I ruled the world?
Yeah.
Fuck. It's a fantasy, right? Obviously.
No, this is 2019 for you, George.
I don't know what you guys are doing in that company.
I'll email you later.
But yeah.
Been meaning to talk to you about this little campaign idea. No, I would make selfishness and inconsiderate behavior fucking illegal, and you would just have to change your ways, and you would have to. If I ruled America, that's what I would do. I just read an article about Japan. I'm sorry, it was a video I saw about Japan, and how they operate is like beautiful. They're just, nobody is being a dick in public. You're on the right side of the elevator, escalator, you're standing, you're on the left, you're walking. You're in the subway, you're not talking on your phone, you're not fucking yapping to yourself loud, you're on the train, you're not sprawled out. Like, everybody's in line, and it's not like because it's just the way they operate, it's just they're considerate of each other. So I would say all else is legal, but
Right.
being inconsiderate is illegal. And I would say that because killing somebody is inconsiderate, and you wouldn't do that. It's like
Right.
built in. It's like
Right,
baked
that's-
in.
makes
You know what
sense
I'm
to me.
saying?
So far, my favorite answer.
Yeah.
Out of the eight, right? 8? I don't
People tend to
Actually,
get
no,
humble.
nine that we've done. Being inconsiderate is definitely huge for me.
Yeah,
So.
that's a little bit more specific because people tend to, like, no matter what they said in the podcast, they come down and they go, I really want like equality. But yours was a little bit more, had a little bit more meat on the bones, a little bit more specific.
What did Kevin say?
Well, the first part, there was 2 parts. One was he wanted to fight everyone that, and then
I would butt fuck everybody who ever said anything bad about me on Facebook. So would I, first of all.
and then the next thing he wanted was like everyone to be like nice to each other.
Less violent.
Less violent.
Yeah.
But I was like, but besides the fighting,
Well, he just wanted to, like, you know, see everyone who said some shit on him online face to face. Maybe, you know.
Like in a cage match.
Yeah.
So I listened to his podcast, and I have actually done the same thing. Like, I've asked people to meet me.
Yeah.
I said, I want to meet you, and I want to videotape it, and I want to post it so that everybody knows that you don't fucking tell a 250-pound maniac that you're going to kick the shit out of him unless you fucking mean it. And I want everyone to know. And then, nobody gives a fuck. The guy was like, I'm not in New York. Like, okay, where are you? I'll come there. I have time. You know what I mean?
You sound like our last guest, Kevin.
Yeah.
I literally, like Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, that's what I told him. I told him on the episode.
That is like my ultimate fantasy.
I said that. They're knocking on the doors like,
Are you
what is it like?
I'm going to kill all these fucks. They didn't even know what the internet was.
No, they're like, what's the internet?
What the fuck
what
is
a
the
great
internet?
Movie. It's so good.
Oh, my God. Jay and Silent Bob and Kevin and Tank. We're going to kill everybody. I would go on the road with him and just murder everybody that ever said anything bad
Tank,
about
that doesn't exactly sound like good news.
it. Yeah, no, I know. It's fantasy, I said.
It's fancy.
Oh, we're still fantasizing.
All right, well.
Cool. We got ourselves a podcast. George,
All right,
Tank
man.
Sinatra, thank you
Thanks for
so
having me
much
on.
for doing this. It's
Thank
great
you.
to see you.
Thanks for keeping in touch all these years.
Yes, sir. Expect an email.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
If I ruled the world, I love 'em, baby.